Dawson City, a place bright with hope and dark with despair. The banks of the Yukon River were a mess of wrecked boats and abandoned supplies, a graveyard for the last desperate push of the stampeders. Men came ashore with fire in their veins, certain their fortune lay just beyond the muddy streets. By tomorrow, they thought, their dreams would be in hand. What began as a collection of tents on the flats soon grew into a booming town, one of the largest and most unruly settlements in the north. At its peak in 1898, Dawson's population swelled to nearly 40,000, its streets alive with traders, miners, and opportunists. The lucky ones had already claimed the richest ground. For the rest, Dawson was a place of survival. Many ambitious men realized their fortune lay not in the mines, but in mining the miners. General stores, saloons, and supply depots sprang up overnight, their shelves stocked with goods ferried in on the river. But Dawson was far from stable. Each year, at least once, the town burned. Fires ripped through the wooden structures, reducing entire streets to ash. Hegg's camera was there. And yet, Dawson always rose again. The town was rebuilt every time, its growth fueled by stubborn resilience and the endless stream of stampeders still pouring in. This was it, the final destination, the place where every trail, every hardship, every dream led. Hegg arrived at the goldfields expecting to find the heart of the rush. What he found instead was its bones. The hills that once stood untouched, their creeks running clear, had been scalped to the bedrock. Small streams, first prospected by the lucky few who arrived early, were now choked with debris. The beauty of the Klondike was gone, peeled away in a frantic search for wealth hidden beneath the earth. Men lived on their claims in filthy camps, too afraid to leave for fear of losing their stake. They built crude, dangerous engineering projects, sluices and flumes that diverted water to wash away gravel and expose the gold beneath. They toiled from dawn to dusk, their bodies breaking under the weight of exhaustion and cold. The richest claims had been staked months before, long before the rush reached its fever pitch. Many of these men worked for wages on claims owned by others, indentured to fortunes they would never see. They came seeking glory and freedom, but found only servitude. The gold fields of the Klondike weren't organized. They were crammed. Claims butted up against cabins, shops, and each other, right on the edges of town. No zoning, no real boundaries, just state ground, marked by wooden posts and hand-drawn maps and hope. But look past the chaos, and you'll see a kind of frontier ingenuity. Every claim was a small operation. Many looked like construction sites. Long wooden flumes carried water in from creeks miles away, often built by hand, using only axes and saws. Ditches were dug through frozen ground to feed the sluice boxes that washed the pay dirt. To get the gold, they had to thaw the permafrost. Some lit fires straight into the earth. Others used steam boilers and coiled pipes to melt the frozen layers inch by inch. Once the ground was soft, they dug shafts, sometimes 30, 40, 50 feet deep. Buckets of gravel were winched to the surface with hand cranks or pulley systems, then dumped into rockers or sluices. Timber cribbing kept the shafts from collapsing. Everything had to be reinforced, especially in winter. It was rough, and it barely worked. Claims were close, tensions were closer, but the work itself was steady, methodical, and for many, the only real chance they had at a payout. In total, the Klondike Gold Rush yielded over $29 million in gold, roughly $1 billion today. Broken bodies, shattered finances, and empty pockets were the real legacy of the Klondike Gold Rush. Most of the gold was discovered early, in the first few months after its initial finding in 1896. By the time the masses arrived in 1897 and 1898, the best claims were already gone. A few struck lucky on smaller creeks, but most found nothing or worked themselves to ruin on someone else's land. For those who made it out, the journey home was often as punishing as the journey in. Others stayed, not because they had found fortune, but because they had nowhere else to go. This was the gold rush. This wasteland of mud and ash, stripped of its beauty, was the end result of all the stories and songs. Where was the glory? Where was the gold? Gold fever. It was never just about the gold. It was a sickness of the soul, a hunger for something more. Freedom, power, redemption. It drove men to forsake reason, risk everything, and blind themselves to the truth. The fever didn't just burn through their wallets, it consumed their lives. E.A. Hegg captured the truth of the Klondike, the cost of ambition, the fragility of hope, and the devastation left behind. His photographs told a story of human resilience and of human folly. This was the dream they risked everything for, a place where beauty became ruin and hope turned to ash. And still, they came.